Have you ever wondered why your dog insists on sleeping next to you every single night? Most people think it's simple. They think their dog is doing it because they love them. And while love is part of the story, it's not the whole story. In fact, the real reason your dog chooses to sleep beside you may reveal something far deeper about how they see you. Something most dog owners never realize. And what it means when a dog suddenly stops doing this could be one of the most important signals you'll ever notice. Every night, millions of dogs make the same choice. They leave their bed, they ignore the expensive cushion their owner bought, and somehow, they end up curled beside a human. Maybe that's you. Maybe your dog sleeps against your legs. Maybe they rest at your feet. Maybe they press their body against your back. At first, it seems obvious. They're comfortable. They're warm. End of story. But canine behavior experts have noticed something fascinating. Dogs don't choose sleeping locations randomly. In the wild, sleep is one of the most vulnerable moments in an animal's life. A sleeping animal can't react quickly. It can't defend itself effectively. It can't monitor danger. That's why where a dog chooses to sleep reveals an enormous amount about how safe they feel. And this is where things get interesting. Because your dog isn't simply choosing a comfortable spot. They're choosing who they trust with their safety. Think about that for a moment. Out of every location in your home, your dog chooses you. Not because your bed is soft. Not because your room is warm. But because, deep down, their instincts tell them something important. You're part of their pack. And what that means emotionally is far deeper than most owners understand. But before we talk about pack behavior, there's another hidden reason many dogs sleep close to their humans. And once you notice it, you'll start seeing it everywhere. Dogs experience the world differently than humans. We rely heavily on vision. Dogs rely heavily on scent. Your scent is more than a smell to your dog. It's information. It's familiarity. It's comfort. It's reassurance. Imagine being in a strange place surrounded by unfamiliar sounds. Now imagine suddenly hearing the voice of someone you completely trust. Your stress would instantly drop. For dogs, your scent often creates a similar effect. When they sleep beside you, they're surrounding themselves with something that tells their brain, everything is okay. Everything is safe. My person is here. And that emotional connection runs deeper than many people realize. Because dogs don't just recognize your scent. They associate it with countless positive experiences. Walks, meals, playtime, protection, comfort, affection. Every day together builds that association. Over time, your presence becomes one of the strongest sources of security in your dog's world. But there's another layer to this behavior that most owners completely miss. And it's one of the strongest signs your dog feels emotionally connected to you. When dogs sleep together, they aren't only seeking protection. They're strengthening social bonds. In wild canine groups, resting near one another reinforces trust. It's a silent form of communication. No barking, no movement, no interaction, just presence. And presence means something. Your dog doesn't need to be entertained by you every second. They don't need constant attention. Sometimes simply being near you is enough. That's a powerful kind of attachment. Because attachment isn't always loud. Sometimes it's quiet. Sometimes it's a warm body curled against your leg at 2 in the morning. And the deeper reason behind that attachment may surprise you. Many people believe dogs love humans the way humans love dogs. But the reality is even more fascinating. Dogs have evolved alongside humans for thousands of years. Their brains have become uniquely tuned to us. Research has shown that positive interactions between dogs and humans can trigger bonding hormones associated with trust and connection. In other words, your dog isn't simply living with you. They're forming a relationship with you. A real emotional relationship. And that relationship influences where they sleep, who they follow, who they seek during stressful moments, and who they look for when they need comfort. But what happens when a dog suddenly stops sleeping next to you? This is where many owners make a huge mistake. They assume something is wrong. Sometimes that's true, but not always. Dogs can change sleeping habits for many reasons. Age, temperature, physical comfort, changes in routine, new household environments. Sometimes a dog starts sleeping elsewhere simply because they found a cooler spot, or a softer location, or because their joints feel better in a different position. But here's what matters. If your dog's sleeping behavior changes suddenly and is accompanied by other unusual signs, reduced energy, loss of appetite, withdrawal, or behavioral changes, that's when attention becomes important. Because dogs communicate through behavior long before they communicate through obvious symptoms. The key is not to panic. The key is to observe. Your dog is always sending signals. The question is whether we're paying attention. And speaking of signals, there's one sleeping behavior that owners often misinterpret completely. When a dog presses against you while sleeping, some people think it's just a random sleeping position. It isn't always random. Physical contact can provide reassurance. It can reinforce connection. And in some cases, it can be a subtle expression of trust. Think about how vulnerable sleep is. Now imagine choosing to sleep while touching another living creature. That's not something animals do casually. It requires confidence, comfort, security, trust. Your dog is essentially saying, "I feel safe here." And for many dogs, that's one of the strongest compliments they can give. If this is changing how you see your dog, take a moment to like and subscribe. Because understanding behavior isn't just interesting. It can completely transform your relationship with your dog. Now here's something even more emotional. Your dog may not understand your job. They may not understand your goals. They may not understand your problems. But they understand your presence. They notice when you're gone. They notice when you're stressed. They notice changes in your mood more than most people realize. And every night when they choose to sleep beside you, they're making a choice. A simple choice, but a meaningful one. Out of the entire world they've experienced, you've become one of the places they feel safest. That's why this behavior matters. It's not just about sleep. It's about trust. It's about security. It's about connection. It's about a bond built through thousands of small moments that your dog never forgets. The walk you almost skipped. The meal you served. The comfort you gave during a thunderstorm. The time you sat beside them when they were scared. Dogs remember feelings, and those feelings shape their behavior, including where they choose to rest at night. So the next time your dog curls up beside you, don't see it as a habit. Don't see it as coincidence. See it for what it may truly be. A quiet message, a silent expression of trust, a reminder that in your dog's world, you represent safety, because your dog isn't just behaving, they're communicating. And sometimes, the most meaningful things they ever say are the things they say without making a sound.